welcome back, y'all. So today we're going to be working on the Fox body. When I did drive it, I had noticed that the speedometer was doing the low speed jump and didn't really smooth out until about 60 miles an hour or so. So with the Fox bodies, it's usually one of about 6 things it could be. Most commonly, if you have the white speedo gear, which is what this car should have, they often get chewed up. So I've got one of these. The next most common thing is the speedometer cable itself is either dried up and needs to be relubricated, or it needs to be replaced. I know for a fact I'm going to be replacing that today because there's a spot I'll show you in a second where the header has melted the sheath, so it might be binding on there, so I'll just go ahead and replace that. After that, you got the speedo sensor, which this is a replacement one from LMR. It also comes with a pigtail. I'm going to wait on this just to see. I do have it. I do have the pigtail, but I'm going to hang on to that. After that, the mate to the speedo gear on the cable, the ring gear, the pickup gear inside the tail housing of the transmission, is the next probably most common one. That requires pretty much opening up the transmission, which I'm not planning on doing today. So, and after that, it's probably the speedo there's little magnets in there that basically how it mates up to the cable end itself and causes a jump around, which I'm not going to try to mess with that too much today, but let me show you that spot that I'm talking about. It's common. Let me get something to point with. Find my... Hold on 1 second, I'm looking for my... There it is. Okay. So, make sure y'all can see this. If you look, where my screwdriver is pointing, this is the speedometer cable, and right here, you can, I'm gonna try and get it to see that burnt area right here? That could be causing binding with the cable, so I'm going to just go ahead and replace the cable rather than try to relubricate it. But to do all this, first thing I'm going to be doing is getting the car up off of 4 wheels. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the rear wheels are free so that when I get done put the car back together, I can go ahead and start it up and get the wheels rolling, test it down the road. So rather than taking it for a drive, I can just do it in here because I'm also going to be doing some other stuff today. So that being said, let me get the car jacked up all 4 corners and we'll get to it. Hang on. Okay, so starting off, I got the car up off the ground. You got to get the... Now on tilt steering wheel cars is different, and earlier cars, the 87s to 89s is different, but this is a 91, so the Phillips head screw that's underneath, you gotta take the steering column cover off. Screw out the way. Set these over here. And then normally just pop off the lower cover, get it out the way. Now my car doesn't have any, but normally there's 2 little bolts here on each side of the bottom. Now the fun part, it's a T20 bit for the 2 up top, And I usually, rather than trying to squeeze a really short screwdriver in there, I'll take the round ratchet and with a 1/4 inch socket and get these going to get the dash panel out the way. If you have enough light and you can see the glare, it helps off, you know, like kind of like a heads-up display. You can kind of see the glare of where the screws are. Don't really have that in this case. I can see my hands, but I can't see the holes. Just one. You could also use a, I believe it's a 9/32 socket if you wanted to for these. I think it's 9/32. I like using the bit with the Torx bit because it gives, with a short socket, just enough clearance that I can get my hand on it, but it's short enough that I'm not banging against the steering or the windshield. So now we got to get the hazards and the headlight switches out, which I need a screwdriver for that. Never remember what size works best, so I'm going to try a couple different ones. Okay, let me show you how I did that. So these tabs are holding the switches up against. So you got to take your screwdriver, push these out the way while you pull the switches out, and then disconnect the plugs, which are like that. So I'll take my screwdriver and pry those off, which I can't do one-handed, so you'll bear with me. Headlight switch. Sorry if my head's in the way, but headlight switch or the hazard switch doesn't want to come out. I don't want to break it, but I'll tell you what. Try situate it so I can get the plug from the back side, maybe. I don't think I can. No. There we go. Those switches are a pain, but I can pull the dash cover out. And now I'll get the socket for this, which I believe is 9/30 seconds. So you have 4, basically 2 on each corner. They're not exactly on the corners, but 4 of these bolts. They're pretty much the same bolts that hold the top that I was talking about, but since there's plenty of room to work, I'd rather use a socket with an extension. Alright. Next is the fun part when these are tight like this, is getting the wiring connectors for the actual dash itself off. And I can't get the camera in there to show you this, so you're just gonna have to, I'll have to show you after I get it out. There's one, and then the other is back here. Okay. So the wiring is disconnected, and all that's holding this dash in is the speedometer cable, which came out pretty easy. So, set this out the way. Now would also be a good time, if you know you got bulbs out in your dash, to go ahead and replace them. But here's your speedometer cable. These are your two connectors. So there's your speedometer cable. These are your two connectors I was talking about that you can't really see. And all you really got to do is get your hand up in there and squeeze these ends. You can actually do one side at a time and it'll wiggle out. There's just not a lot of room to work. So next, this is the fun part. I'm going to zip tie a piece of paracord, 550 cord, to the cable. Hopefully I cut it long enough. Let me do this. I need both my hands. I'll show you how I do it once I get it done. Okay, so I've just looped it around the plastic and zip tied it in, and then I've got it tied to vice grips just to keep it give it some weight. And the only reason you do this is just to make it easier to fish the new cable out once you get done. Basically, once I pull it through, I'll go ahead and disconnect it, that 550 cord from the cable, and we'll be done in here for now. So the fun part. Let's see if I can get that. And the grommet. The cable comes with a new grommet, so don't need to worry about that. I got to get it off of the firewall first. Let's see if I can get it. So, you kind of see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pry this grommet up off the firewall. A whole lot of room to work, but there. Okay, I'm gonna need both hands for this. So let me try to the intake's kind of in the way, but so right now, I don't know if this is visible, right under here, basically it's hung on the grommet, so I'm just trying to pop it free. Here it comes, here it comes. Now before I pull it too much, okay, uh-oh. Well, my cable idea, just note to self, probably zip tie it a little better. I just lost the zip tie, and therefore my paracord went through, so I'm gonna have fun fishing the new one through for sure. All right, the next thing is getting this bolt down here undone, and also I'll have to transfer that to the new cable. But let me work on that, because it's kind of darkened underneath there and tight, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I got that bolt kind of had to hold my tongue just right and find the right angle with the right socket. Ended up just using a little 1/4 inch drive, 3/8 socket with the long socket to get it loose. And then let me show you what I got going on here. Wait, how it looks. So if you look and see where that bolt head is, right there. That's where it was. Then pop it off this clip here. Pretty much once you're at that point, you're at the speedo sensor. Now, since I'm replacing the gear also, I'm going to be pulling everything at once and just do it that way. There is a way to get the cable out from the sensor itself without removing it, but I don't need to worry about that. So for me, there's a bolt. You can see that bolt head right there, and then the connector. And I'm just going to pull it out as is, and then I'll clean it up and get the new gear in and get going from there. So I shall return. Okay, so it's out. It was a 7/16. Oh, let me grab it. Bolt with this little clip here. I'll try to show this one in here. Kind of just rode in there like that. Okay. For some reason, previous owner had put this car, I'm certain based on GPS and whatnot, RPM, it has 308 gears based on the tire size. This would be correct, this yellow speedo gear, if this was an 87, 89 car. But since this is a 91, it should have a white, it should have a different gear anyway. But that's all irrelevant because I have taller tires than factory. So, moving forward, obviously I've already said I've got the white tooth gear. To get this out, let me see if I can do this. There we go. It's just pull. God, I hope I got that on camera. You just pull on this a little. And I'll even stick it back in there for now. Just pull on that a little. And it pops right out. I'm going to clean this off. Actually, it seems kind of bent up. So I think I'm going to go ahead and look at replacing it just for GP. Good purpose for the non-military folks. So, let me situate the camera. It's not. Okay. So this one comes with a new clip. New clips. Pretty sure the pigtail's the same. Pigtail on the car is fine. I do need to rob this clip here to be able to put on the new gear, which is right here. So let me get a screwdriver. Pop that guy off. I can find one. There. This is the clip I'm talking about. I just popped it right off. Yeah, I don't like the way that's spinning. Yeah, this one spins much nicer. see if I can get this to line up. Okay. See it? This is your notch here. Just line these up. Push it in there. Bam. So, to get that done, I'm going to probably, to make it easier, I'm probably just going to go ahead and install the speedo sensor itself and then put the cable in because it is kind of tight in there. But before I do all that, one thing I need to do is lubricate the speedo cable and prep it, because it does not come with this bracket. So I'm going to take that bracket and let's see here, go like this. It does, the factory one does have a metal sleeve on it, but as you can see, the LMR cable is a little bit smaller in diameter, so it shouldn't. But as you can see that the you can see cable through there. The cable is totally frayed, and honestly, not really sure that it's even spinning correctly. It is, but so regardless, now to lubricate this thing, which there's not a lot of play, but get some I'm just going to use white lithium, spray some down in there. You want it on the speedo sensor side. Spray it in there, work it a little bit, and be back to install it. So hang on. Okay, so the cable's routed. It was a little bit of a pain because of this exhaust hanger getting that thing back in there, and I think that's probably why the old one was bent, because, well, previous owner probably fought it too much. But see, I just need to put that there. That piece is clipped in, or that bolt is bolted down. I have the cable run through the firewall. The grommets in there. The only thing I'll have left to do out here is I'm going to zip tie this to the brake lines down here, just to keep it a little bit further away from the header so it doesn't melt like the old one. I will say I did have to put the cable in to the sensor. I put the sensor in and then try to put the cable in. It wouldn't go. I had to pull it out and basically get the cable on a vise, because the spring that came with the new one, and this spring for some reason, it was the new cable, the ridges on the new cable, it didn't want to go over, so I really had to force it to get it into the sensor. But that being said, I'm not gonna bore you with this, but more or less all I gotta do is get the dash back together, be putting the cable in, the connectors, and just putting it all back together, and then get that, once it's all back together and situated, I'll zip tie the cable, and then we'll be starting it up, and I'll run it through the gears to see if everything matches up and doesn't jump around too much. So I'll be back. Okay, so moment of truth, let's get going. I'm in the car, in the shop, on, well, that didn't work, obviously. Let me show you what I'm dealing with here. transmission for in my case. So it just likes to hover right around there, and I know that ain't right, so yep. Anyway, most people it'll fix it, but for me it's either the transmission or the speedometer. So anyway, it was worth a shot. Wish I could have had that fixed so I could, you know, prove that that works, but with those Fox bodies, you never know. It's probably, knowing my luck, it's probably the transmission gear. It's what it is, but that's how you replace the speedometer sensor, the speedo cable, and the speedo gear on a Fox body. So that's one project down. Until next time, I'll be back.